So you might be wondering, what is this device that I'm breathing through? This thing is called a Lumen, and it is designed to tell you whether you are burning carbohydrates or fats as a source of energy in your body. You can see I just did this. I'm coming in at a 3 here, which means that I'm about 50-50, somewhere in the middle in terms of burning carbohydrates and fats as an energy source. And now, the important thing here, all right, before I get into whether this device is worth your time at all, is this idea of metabolic flexibility. If you've never heard of this idea, it's best to think of it like a hybrid car. All right, your hybrid car has a gas tank and it has an electric battery. Similarly, your body has two sources of energy, carbohydrates and fats. And so the idea is that a healthy body should be able to naturally and easily transition between burning carbs as a source of energy and burning fats as a source of energy. And this idea is referred to as metabolic flexibility, the ability to shift between these two fuel sources. The issue is that sometimes your body can get stuck in one pathway or the other pathway, and it can lose that flexibility, lose that ability to shift between these two different fuel sources. So it would be like if you had a hybrid car and it was just stuck on the gas and you could never use the battery, or vice versa. And the issue is that in the world that we live in, right, we tend to have a lot of readily available sources of carbohydrates, and this would be equivalent to constantly pumping your car full of gasoline, all right, and never letting it shift over to use the electric battery for energy. And the same is true with our body. If we're constantly filling it up with carbohydrates, all right, we are not giving our body a lot of opportunity to shift over to burn fat as a source of energy. And so what happens is, over time, our body begins to downgrade all of the enzymes and the pathways that are involved with burning fat because it is solely being used to burning carbohydrates. And so your body gets really, really good at burning sugars, and it gets pretty bad at burning fats. And then this leads to this inflexible metabolism where you're constantly stuck on sugar burning mode, and you've lost the ability to switch back and forth. And guess what? The same thing actually can happen on the other end, where you get really good at burning fats, and then your body loses some of the ability to manage and properly regulate blood sugar. And this can happen on sort of long-term carbohydrate restricted or ketogenic type diets. And so the beautiful thing about this idea of metabolic flexibility is that it encourages you to follow a dietary program that has the right balance of carbohydrates in your diet, not being overly restrictive for too long, all right, but not being overdoing the carbohydrates for too long either. You want to give your body adequate times where it has plenty of carbs that it can burn through for energy, and then have times where it can dip into your fat reserves and use that as its primary source of fuel. Because there's a lot of evidence that your body's default state, all right, for most of your daily activities is a fat burning state. Your body wants to burn fats for you to walk around, to do most of your daily activities, because it's a more sustainable, cleaner burning fuel, all right? It is reserving those carbohydrates for that higher intensity output, right? When you're running around, when you're doing exercise, when you need that quick burst of energy, that's when it's going to mobilize all of those stored sugars to fuel those quicker burning pathways that are going to give you that hit of energy that you need. And so it's just, again, thinking about this in terms of the hybrid car analogy, right? When you're driving your car quickly, accelerating on the gas, right, you're going to be burning through that gasoline, all right? But when you're just on that slow, steady cruise control at a low level, that's when you're going to be dipping into that battery, that electric source of energy. And so this idea of metabolic flexibility is super, super critical to maintaining a healthy body. And if you begin to lose this, it can lead to all sorts of issues, things down the road like prediabetes, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, right? This idea of an inflexible metabolism is really tied together with this idea of blood sugar control, inflammation, and all of the other things that are happening in your gut and your mitochondria in your body. So it is important for you to be thinking about this. And I know if this is a brand new concept, you might be like, whoa, I never actually considered the different ways that my body can use these fuel sources. And now this device here, right, is all about telling you How can you manage your body and your diet and your exercise to shift from fat burning to carb burning and back and forth? And it's going to give you 3 toggles. So in the next video, I'm going to describe to you what are those 3 toggles that you can use to enhance your metabolic flexibility. And until next time, I'm Jeff Siegel. Just breathe, smile, and be flexible.